Hey there, heroes. Emmett's back with a little comic industry update. It's June. Again, I guess one of my last big videos was a year ago in June. Seems to get a lot of views. I'm doing a show, as a lot of you know, on Tales from the Flip Side about comic shop, running and opening a comic shop. This video is really not fit for that because I want to try to keep that positive, and this is some DC negativity. So with DC moving to Lunar, they started our clock again first 6 months on purchasing $1,000 a month to keep your 50%. For 6 months in a row, you have to average $1,000 to keep your 50% discount. That doesn't include shipping. The first 6 months I made it. DC was still producing some good stuff. I probably had 10 people on Batman, and 3 or 4 people, 4 or 5 people actually on Action Comics. So DC was selling. The books were selling. Probably 3 or 4 people on Flash. The books were going, moving it at a pretty decent clip, enough where that I continue to buy $1,000 a month. That is no longer true. DC is not doing any marketing. DC is not in contact with their partners, the LCSs. I haven't gotten an email or anything from DC. It's really a partnership. It's a they're selling business to business. If they're expecting me to sell their books, they really need to send me books I can sell. Not to make a long story short, because it's a video, but this past 6 months, I didn't make my $1,000 a month. It was $912. So I missed it by $88. Did they drop me 5%? Did they drop me 10%? No. They drop you 15% down to 35%. Then when you add in shipping, if they ship you the books, because on a week you don't spend $125 wholesale, they won't ship you the books. Last week I didn't get my books. I got them. They actually came in on Wednesday because their books are shipped so quickly. They're like a week in advance. You get them, the day after you put out DC on Tuesday. I still put mine out on Wednesday, but the books arrive for the following week. So I was able to get my books out on the shelf on Wednesday in a rush, and so I had the DC, the few books that I was getting. Everybody knows you can look at the Comic-Con. There's a lot of different things where you can go look at the numbers of books that are selling. And DC is not, as being one of the top 2, DC is absent. Yeah, they have a couple. They have a couple of books. They're both Batman books, but their numbers are skewed. And that's one of the things about this whole returnability. Now that they've moved to the Marvel model with the 1 in 25s and 1 in 50s, which I think for the comic business is horrible. Yeah, it's good for some comic shops who they can work that, and they're willing to hold books aside and return them, and so they can buy 100 books and get 2 1 in 50s and 4 1 in 25s and just return all the books. I just think that's a bad business model. At some point you're going to get caught out in the cold, and for all the good that you've been making, it's just really bad for the business in total. We should be making readers. Collectors start out as readers. This is interesting. It's a different literature style. Maybe I'll like it. They look at it, they read it, they enjoy the storytelling with the pictures, and then they get reading one issue, let's say Batman or Superman. They start reading that on a regular basis. And then you become a collector because you turn around and now you have, you've branched out into several different titles, and now you have, 50, 60 comics. So now all of a sudden you're a collector and not just a reader. The speculation is fine for the business end of pushing books out, but these books are being warehoused. If they're not on returnability, they're being warehoused in comic shops all over the country, blown out on 50% off sales just to get our cash flow back. This is not a sustainable business model. Neither Marvel nor DC, I think, is doing what it takes to create readers. Everybody says, all the Marvel movies. A very, very small percentage of my customers come in after a Marvel movie and say, hey, do you have the new such and such book? Well, at least Marvel has a such and such book to sell them. Like Thor, there is a Thor book running when the Thor movie comes out. DC, where you're at. I mean, yes, when the Batman movie come out, that's because they have 11 Batman titles, right? So if you're a Batman collector, you pretty much can't buy anything else because there's so many Batman titles. Some good, some bad, some mediocre. What we need is a lot of youthful books. Get in with Scholastic's, license some of your stuff through Scholastic's. So right next to the Captain Underpants, we have a Batman book, we have a Superman book, we have a Wonder Woman book, we have a Teen Titans book. Teen Titans Go was a great seller for me. They ended it. Wonder Girl was a great seller for me. They ended it. Aquaman movies coming up. We don't need this Aquaman anymore. We're going to move it to a different Aquaman because we have this idea to start with a younger, new Aquaman. And then this Aquaman's in a story with Green Arrow? They are lost. They are lost at sea. And I'm, after having a discussion with Dennis from Wonderworld Comics about how he's no longer selling any new comics, I may just not sell DC. I mean, it's not going to be profitable for me for another 6 months. I'm going to have to figure out how to buy $1,000 a month in books I can't sell. It's just really DC has put us in such a difficult position. Now, they have another new owner, but there doesn't seem to be really any movement on what they're doing story-wise. I don't care who the stories are about or what the stories are about. A lot of people are coming out about, they've become the woke company, this, that, and the other thing. I don't care. I care if the comic sells, if the story is good and the comic sells. If you're trying to reach a certain demographic, they need to come in and buy the book. If they're not, you need to change directions. I think that you've given it a long enough time. You canceled Cyborg way faster than these other books. I mean, I guess the numbers aren't there at my shop. I'm talking to a lot of other shop owners. The numbers aren't there. I know the claim is that you guys are killing it and that sales are great. I don't believe you. I don't think the numbers hold out. I don't think if you're watching, where the market is through YouTube, what people are reading, what people are saying are good books. There's a couple of DC books that are written really well. I would say Action Comics is being written really well. The whole Battle World series is written really well, but people aren't picking it up. I mean, I equate it to Valiant. Valiant is putting out some really good material. Great art. They've brought in some really good writers in the past, and now, again, they're bringing good writers, but nobody is buying the books. This is what's happening to DC. DC has some great writers. They have some phenomenal artists, and the books aren't selling. I don't think the leadership is there. I'm sorry. That's what I see because we are a part of your business, so leadership should be reaching out to us. I know the talent is there. I know they've lost a lot of really good editors, have left. So I don't know what the editor situation is. Hey, the lights are back on. I must have paid my bill. But we have a hard... Here at Haven for Heroes, we're having a really hard time with this decision. So help us out. Tell us what you think. Do a little research online about the numbers at DC. I could buy all my DC books from Midtown at 25% off, and I would make a big enough purchase where I would get almost free shipping. Or should I continue with Lunar at 35% off and pay the shipping, which would be 25% anyway? And really, they don't have, Diamond has clearances, and when DC has them on Lunar, they aren't really advertised to the buyer. Us, the LCS, I'm sorry. We're also a game store, so the local comic shop, when they have a couple of things on discount, they don't have a discount button like what's on clearance, where there's multiple liquidation lists for on Diamond. I mean, a lot of people are like, you don't know how good you have it until it's gone. I know there was a lot of hate for Diamond through the years because they were the only game in town. But let me tell you what, the task of ordering comics now has tripled in the time and effort it takes to get your books. FOCs, I've missed FOCs because they're not on the same date as Diamond. I've missed them on both Marvel and DC. Yeah, that's my fault, but it takes time to get into the right swing. I've also missed books, and I don't understand why. Like, I get from a certain week, I'll have most of Marvel books, but I'm missing Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I know I would have ordered Amazing Spider-Man, so I don't know how I missed out on it. Their ordering system for me hasn't been very friendly. There's a lot of extra work. Marvel, when they send you your books, they send you a packing list. So of course, the packing list matches what I'm getting, but I need my order list. What did I order and what did I get? Like Diamond sends you. So when you know you have something is missing, you know it's missing. I could be paying for books I just never got. I don't know, but then you have to go out and, they have it on their website. You can print the list out when the other list comes in. But again, this is all extra work for us to do. So I've already decided that I'm going to take the percentage hit and get all my Marvel books through Diamond again, because we can order them through Diamond. So I won't be getting my 50% off, but I will be able to get all my books. That will be in that format that I'm familiar with. If you go and watch Comic Shop Talk in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a FOC, and you'll see how the FOC is done. It's final order cutoff, and we're not going to be talking about the books specifically on what you should buy and shouldn't buy. We'll show you the actual form that you use and how to go through page by page, and just like a lot of the different features they have on doing it, so that because that's all about running your own comic shop. But I've ranted on for a long time. Please leave us a comment on whether you think we should dump DC books or double down and try to get back our 50%. Or should we move to buying them from Midtown at a 25% discount and getting the free shipping by buying enough over $50 worth of books? Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities there. We probably could even pick up some 1 in 25s without buying 25 issues. So that's another thing I'm looking at. And again, that in business, you have to be ready and prepared to pivot. I'm kind of have been taking too long because I'm a DC fanboy. This hurts me like you wouldn't believe to think about dumping DC. But structurally, business-wise, it may be impossible to go forward with them. I am down to probably 3 books, 3 subscribers buying 3 DC books. Not 3 each, 3. So one's getting 2 of them are getting a Batman book, and somebody's getting something else. I can't even remember what it is because they're not memorable. These books are not memorable. The last good selling DC book I had was DC Fortnite, and that was good marketing because the people that came in had never read comics before. The majority of the people I sold it to were people that were playing Fortnite and they wanted the skins. But hopefully that book will hang around the house and people will read it and they'll fall in love with the art form of comic books. And it is a true literary art form. And this is the people we have to market to. They have very little presence on any of the social medias. They're on there, but it is boring. They really count on their artists and their writers to run their own accounts. That's not fair. You're paying them to write the book. You're paying them to do the art. You are not paying them to be marketing consultants. Of course, they want their books to be sell as many as possible. So they are pushing their books on social media, but that shouldn't be your focus. You should be putting money into that. There should be ads running all the time. DC never pops up on my Instagram of hey, you should check this out. And I'm listed as a comic business. Most of the things that I'm attached to are comic related. And I don't nothing shows up. I get a lot more video game stuff from all these phone games than I ever do in DC or Marvel. You gotta help out your local comic shop. We're your business partner. We're the ones hand selling these books to the customers who enjoy comics. 1, make a better product. 2, market. Marketing. This zero marketing it really feels like you're just printing the books as a loss leader for your intellectual property. We're going to continue to create intellectual property and not profit on the actual publishing. Where we'll profit is in the lunch boxes, t-shirts, hats. DC's not profiting from the movies. But please, I love this art form so much. I'm begging you, if the books were great, I would gladly pay only take a 35% percentage, but the books aren't. And I don't have the people buying them, so I'm warehousing your books. I will do a video on how many books I have left over from DC when I'm only buying onesies and twosies, and there's plenty of titles that I have both issues left. Oh, I've gone on forever, but I'm very passionate about this. Help me out, like, subscribe, and for sure, keep reading comics.